Hello? Okay, sorry. I realized my headphone was off. Sorry about that. Okay, so as I was saying before, we look at SP500 and then we'll also look at NQ100. Then if time allows us, we're going to look at the other indices. But first of all, we start off with the one on our screen, NQ100. So I said that in my opinion, traders need to be buying this asset and holding on to it without thinking of any other thing. Like you need to buy it, hold it, and sell it after the end of sometimes. Like you can buy it in January, then sell it in December. Buy it in January, then sell it in December. But the best is if you buy it after crash. It's always the best time to buy it. Okay, I'm going to explain that. Look at this chart. This is from 2005. You can see in 2005 we had like some active trend. Prior to this, there's an active trend. Then in 2006 we had a continuation to the upper side. And then in 2007 we had a continuation to the upper side, but it ended up closing around the same place where it opened. Then in 2008 there was this crash. It actually closed below the opening price after the 2008. Then after that it continued slightly, went and closed up. So this is the main crash which has been there. This is the main crash, and like the main drop in price. We also had a crash as a minor one in 2010. Then in 2011 we had the same crash. In 2012 we had some crash, and then in 2015 we had like some real consolidation. Then in 2018 there was that crash. Then in 2020, which is now this year, the main crash which happened due to the coronavirus pandemic. So what this means is the SP500 is likely to continue to the upper side, because from the past you can see that for the past 10 years, this is apart from the 2008 crash, the one which we saw now with this year is also the next main one, and all of them there's a cause to it. There's the real reason why this thing actually crashed like this, but you can see we've actually recovered everything. We've gone above the highest high so far, which means if you look at this chart now, expect price to close above the opening price of this year's opening price. And come next year, we want to see a retracement. We want to see price pull back slightly so that you can pick a very good buy position. But as it is now, this is now upwards, purely upwards. Let me draw some lines so that maybe that will clarify everything. We have a line, there's this impulsive move, and then we have some correction. This is the first main correction we've seen so far. Then we have that. Then there's this minor correction here, and then there is this move up. But then we have a minor correction. Then we have a continuation to the upside. So as you can see, we have this move up, and then we have a correction, then we have a continuation to the upside, then we have another correction, yeah, and then there's this big move to the upside, and then there is that retracement, then there is that big move to the upper side. So basically this is upwards. This is very, very much to the upper side. So if you look at this chart now, you can see that basically after every impulsive move there's always some correction. After every impulsive move we have some correction. After an impulsive move we have some correction. After an impulsive move we have some correction. After an impulsive move we have some correction, and then there is a continuation to the upper side. So as it is now, the move has gone so far to the upper side. We want to see some retracement. We want to see price attempt to pull back to the losses so that you can buy it at the lowest possible risk. So So as it is now, the place where we want price to pull back up is actually this level here, 34, 32, 40.3. We want price to clearly retrace back to that point, then give us a good buy place so that we can buy it, expecting price to continue to the upper side. The main reason I'm doing this is because, like, most people don't realize that they can easily make a lot of money just by remaining in one thing. Like this has been upwards for the longest possible time. Actually, it has been the most consistent one. If you want something which will give you consistent income, buy SP500 and also buy NQ100. You may also buy other shares of other companies, but this makes more sense to me because we can basically trace the past. We can see retracement, we can see main moves, and we know exactly the price needs to go to the upper side. So the same chart on the weekly time frame. This is what happened earlier this year. We had a support. This is like a very good trend line, a support. You can see that this trend line was used like in 2018. The price used it as support. Then in 2020, which was this year, we see that the price actually came back up to it. So as it is now, we are looking at the one at the top. We look at the one at the top. This is like an expanding wedge formation. We have a resistance. We expect price to go up to this point so that we pick a sell. We expect a sell. We expect that sell to push us slightly to the lower side. So we're not going to sell it we're not going to sell it indefinitely, but we can buy this indefinitely, but we can't sell it indefinitely because we have an active uptrend. So you can see we had a resistance here previously. We had a resistance here, and we expect a reaction when the price gets to this resistance. We want price, and the price gets to this point, expect some consolidation, expect like the price to react to this level here. If it breaks above, then that will mean we're not continuing upwards. As it is now, we're just looking for a sell, temporarily for a short-term sell. So the next asset we look at NQ100. Yeah. So NQ100, this moves almost the same way as SP500. But just look at how perfect this trend has been. We've seen an active move to the upper side, and despite the correction that we're having, the price ends up closing higher than where it was previously. Like in this case, we have an active uptrend. There's a correction, an active uptrend. There is a correction, an active uptrend, a correction, an active uptrend, a correction, uptrend, a correction, uptrend, a correction, and as it is now, for the past how many months? 1, 2, 3, 4. For the past 5 months, the price has been upwards. So expect more movements to the upside. Don't expect a sell as it is now. We expect some correction, yes, but don't expect more move to the lower side. If you add an indicator, maybe let's add the alligator indicator. Look at how this is nicely to the upper side. When you add it, you can see nice move to the upper side. And every time the price comes to this indicator, it tends to bounce off. Anytime it gets back, it tends to bounce off. Gets back, it tends to bounce off to the upper side. As it is now, if the price can do the same, that is, if it can pull back to the same two trend lines, then that will be a good place to look for a buy from. So I'm not going to sell anything on this side. I'm not selling anything whatsoever, not now. I'm looking for only buy position, and if the price pulls back maybe slightly to the lower side, then that will be a good place to look for a buy. The next chart, the same chart on a lesser time frame, we have this. This is like a very good trend line, a support, just a support, and then we have this to the upside. So we have this as a resistance, a resistance, a resistance. There is this clear breakout. Somehow we are still above that level. So we do expect a continuation to the upper side. If you are on this chart now, keep looking for buy position, expect price to continue to the upper side, wait for maybe some pullback, then you're supposed to pick a buy position, expecting price to proceed much higher. So as we saw on the weekly chart, on the monthly chart, if the weekly candles can somehow touch this indicator, then that will give us the correct place to look for a buy from. If the price can touch the 3 moving averages, then that will give us the correct place to look for a buy from. So that should bring us to the end of this review of the 3 symbols. We'll meet again next week at the same time. Thank you. See you.